G'day there folks, how you going? Great, I am too, thanks for asking. Anyway, I'm reading some Reddit today, so sit back, relax and enjoy. Cheers.
Am I the a-hole for saying that I was hurt that I wasn't invited to a wedding that all my old friends were invited to? I, 28 male, used to have a friend group of about 10 people back when we were in middle and high school. Then college happened and we all drifted apart. Nothing happened to make us drift apart, just growing up and losing contact. Still friends, but not talk all the time, hang out regularly friends, if that makes sense. But of course some of us stayed close friends with each other. One person from this group, Kayla, 28 female, is getting married in a few weeks. I didn't get an invitation, but I wasn't hurt. I understood. We didn't stay close friends. But then I was hanging out with my best friend Bob, 28 male, who was also in that friend group, a few days ago, and he mentioned that he's going to the wedding. I was a little surprised, but I just told him I hoped he had a good time. He asked if I was going, and I told him no, I didn't get an invite. He said that was strange, because everyone else from the group was going. 2 of them were plus ones as they were dating or married to other ones who got an invite, but they were all going, and Kayla knew it, and even told Bob she was really happy that the gang was getting back together on her special day. I told Bob I was kinda hurt by that, but I didn't want to make a big deal of it. 2 days pass. Kayla calls me fuming mad that I was whining that I didn't get an invite to anyone who would listen. I told her that I wasn't. I explained to her what happened. She said that she's been getting texts and calls from other members of the group saying that she should have included me and wanted me to put a stop to it. I said I would do my best and that I was sorry that I caused her this trouble. She thanked me for the apology and hung up. I called Bob and asked him why he spread this around, and he said that he didn't mean to. He felt bad that I was hurt, and he wanted to ask someone else from the group if they knew why I wasn't invited, and she spread it around, I guess, and everyone wanted to know why Kayla cut me out specifically, so they started asking her. So I made a Facebook group chat with all of them and politely asked them to leave Kayla alone, that I was just hurt in the moment and vented about it to my best friend, and that's where it should have stayed. They all said okay and apologized to Kayla. Yesterday, Kayla made a Facebook post ranting about me without saying my name, and she said she had to hire security and give them a photo of me to make sure I didn't try to crash the wedding, something I would never do. The comments under the post were calling her out. She called me again and screamed at me that I was ruining her wedding and told me that some of the friends are considering not going to the wedding now. And now I'm just wondering if I should have just kept my mouth shut or stood up for myself, or what. Edit. I woke up to 160-something notifications on this, and I'm doing my best to answer questions and all that, but to answer some frequent questions and points. I'm bi. I have no knowledge of Kayla ever having a crush on me. I don't know if her fiancé is gay or bi. I never dated Kayla. I dated someone else from the group back in high school into college, but the relationship ended amicably, and I'm still good friends with her. The only notable event that might have made things weird is that we all went skinny dipping once when we were 16, but nothing else really happened there, and as far as I know, nobody was creeped out or anything by it. There was no big political shift in any of us that may have divided us. Wow, what the hell? The way Opie's putting it sounds like Kayla just went unhinged with no warning. Let's go to the comments. If the recounting of events is accurate, not the a-hole, though I do wonder why she specifically excluded you. In any case, please give Kayla my contact details. With her great attitude and pleasing personality, she would definitely need a divorce lawyer somewhere down the road. Not the a-hole. You were asked if you were going, and you said you weren't invited. Your friend, not you, expressed surprise and told the rest of the group. The rest of the group, not you, reached out to the bride. You apologized to the bride for their actions, and you asked them to stop. You've already apologized for something that wasn't your fault. Now she's spinning this into you wanting to crash the wedding? Anyone now deciding not to go is making a good call, and you've dodged a bullet. Not the a-hole. Did you ever find out why you were excluded in the first place? Because all that drama she's stirring up is because of that. Of course, if you don't invite one person out of a group, it's likely they'll find out. You're completely not the a-hole for being hurt, and for talking to your friend. This is all on Kayla. She has a right not to invite you, but this is the expected outcome if there's no obvious reason known to the group. Someone asks, was she always this unhinged? Opie replies, not that I remember. She was a little intense sometimes, but never this kind of crazy. Why did you apologise? Opie says, she was very mad on the phone. I was surprised that she found out about a private conversation I had in my backyard, and I felt bad that the others were asking her why I wasn't invited so much that she felt she needed to call me. If I did it again after she made the Facebook post and then called to yell at me again, I probably wouldn't have apologised, but hindsight is 20/20. Is it a race or sexuality thing? Opie replies, most of us are white, 2 Asians and a Hispanic person, but Kayla and I are white, so I don't think it's that. There are others in the group that are gay or bi for sure, 3 of them out and 1 that's still in the closet but has told me. I don't know who else they've told though. Someone says, you don't know what your other friends may have said to her. Opie replies, you're right. I don't know what they were saying to her. They just said they were asking her why I wasn't invited, while the rest of them were, but I just took their word for it. They may have been rude or badgered her or who knows what else. And you're also right that it's within her right not to invite me, of course. I didn't mean to stir any drama at all with any of this. I was just sitting outside with my best friend having some drinks, and I admitted I was hurt that everyone but me was invited. And that's all I expected it to be, just 2 friends talking. But then this whole thing spiraled into a crap storm that I didn't intend in my wildest dreams. Yeah, this whole debacle just seems unnecessary. Let's go to the update. Anyway, I finally got an answer to why I wasn't invited to the wedding. Turns out that someone else from the group named Samantha has had a crush on me for years, but has been too afraid to tell me or act on it. Samantha was in the bridal party of Kayla's wedding, and told Kayla that she was finally going to make a move on me at the wedding after all her bridal party duties were taken care of. Kayla didn't like this and thinks that I'm not good enough for Samantha, but she didn't say anything and decided to just not invite me and hoped Samantha dropped it. But when Samantha heard about me not being invited, she could smell the bullcrap and confronted Kayla, knowing exactly why I wasn't invited, and said she wasn't sure she wanted to be in the bridal party after Kayla would do something like this to her. That's when Kayla called me and flipped out the first time. After the group chat where I asked them to stop, Samantha was so upset that she did drop out of the bridal party, and that prompted the second phone call blow up on me. Samantha called me this afternoon and told me all this, apologised for all the bullcrap, and asked me out to dinner on the night of the wedding, and I accepted. This might seem petty to go out on the night of the wedding, but it was Samantha's idea, and also Kayla is bat-crap crazy, and her number and social media is blocked, so I can't get any more calls if she blows up a 3rd time. Thanks for the judgment and kind words, and reassurances on the Am I the A-hole post. There you go, I had a feeling it was going to be something like that. Someone had a crush on someone and there was jealousy involved or something like that. Anyway, let's go to the last update. Hi, sorry I haven't checked this in a few days. Little baby updates for you, nothing big enough for a full update yet. The wedding and my date with Sam is next weekend, so expect the big update after that. Sam is considering, or joking, not sure which, that she's going to wear her bridesmaid dress to the date because she loves the colour. She already paid for it, and my chest looks fantastic in it. I'm a little worried that it's too shoving it in Kayla's face, but Sam says she deserves it. I also asked Sam if she would be willing to write her own POV here, and she said she'd love to, and that she will after our date when we go back to my place. Also, Kayla actually sent me a letter in the mail apologising and asking to unblock her so we can talk about this and heal the loose ends. I didn't unblock her. Sam is completely certain that she's only trying to apologise so that I'll tell the other 4 friends who have dropped out of the wedding to attend it. Like I said, big updates next weekend and Sam's POV. Alrighty folks, so there's no more updates for now, but we'll keep an eye on that next one. Give me your thoughts about this one down below and let me know what you think will happen. But yeah, for Kayla to start all that drama just to stop someone from getting with someone at a wedding, that just seems ridiculous. Anyway, let's go to the next story. Okay, this next one's from the same subreddit. It was written by a throwaway account, and it's titled, Am I the a-hole for not wanting to use my college fund to pay for my brother's treatment? My parents divorced when I was about 7 because my dad had admitted to having an affair. My mum and I moved out of our house and into an apartment, while my dad immediately moved his mistress into our house because she was pregnant with my twin brothers. My mum was devastated, but she quickly picked herself up for us. She went back to school, and as a result, she continued climbing up in her career. My mum adjusted better to going from a double-income household to a single income and was able to contribute a substantial amount of money to my college fund. My dad, on the other hand, had a harder time as he now has to support a family of 4, sometimes 5, on a single income, as his wife is a stay-at-home mum. My dad did not have much disposable income and so did not contribute as much to the fund. I'm going to finish school soon, and I have a good shot at getting into my first choices of college. Unfortunately, my brother, 10, male, was diagnosed with a kidney disease which has progressed to where he needs to be on dialysis. My dad is drowning in medical debt, so my mum agreed he no longer needed to pay child support. The specialist had suggested a different treatment for my brother, as most other treatments didn't help or stopped working, and they're running out of options short of a transplant. Not doable at this time. This treatment is not covered by insurance and costs a lot. My dad can't take out a loan due to debt. Dad and his wife sat me down when I was over and asked if I would be willing to let them borrow my college fund to pay off my brother's treatment. They offered to pay the money back, but I knew they wouldn't be able to. I really don't want to give them the money because I know if I don't get any scholarships, I wouldn't be able to go to the college I want to without going into debt myself. My future would be at risk, and I know my dad wouldn't help if I needed it. In addition, the money technically belongs to my mum. I can't just give it away, and I know she'd refuse to give them the money. My dad and his wife are furious at both my mum and I, and is trying to guilt me into it. I do feel terrible for my little brother. Am I the a-hole? Edit to add, my dad does have a second job that he works on the weekend, and his wife homeschools the boys and is a full-time caregiver for my brother. My dad's family disowned him when the affair came to light. He did get some help from his brother and sister, but they can only give so much. I do think I was his last option. His wife did not have a lot of family. Lastly, of course I would feel bad if something happened to my brother. He's just a little kid, but I would want to help him with my own money, and I can only do that if I start my career debt-free. I also don't want to risk my own future. Yeah, it sounds like OP's stuck between a rock and a hard place here. I'm pretty sure the comments are going to be pretty unanimously not the a-hole, but I'm interested to read them. Let's see. Not the a-hole. The money isn't yours, firstly. It was allocated by your mother for a specific thing. You're damn right you're not getting the money back if you loan them. It was grossly inappropriate for your father to ask for money from you, who I presume is a minor. Not the a-hole. You have a lovely understanding and clear-eyed view of this. He'd never pay you back and you'd be stuck under college debt for the next 20 years. Ask your mum to be the bad guy. She can have her divorce attorney send a letter telling him the funds are hers to control and she's not giving up years of her savings for he and his affair partner's expenses. She can also tell him that she'll take him to court to end his custody if he keeps trying to financially abuse a 17-year-old. That's a bit of a feign since you chose to go no contact at any point, but it might shock him out of his behaviour. Not the a-hole. That money is your mum's money that was set aside from her for your college. It was not meant to pay for her ex-husband's kids' treatments. They call it a loan, but it's not. It will never be repaid, and your mum will be out thousands of dollars of her hard-earned money. They need to come up with other sources, such as holding fundraisers, car washes, yard sales, GoFundMe, and barbecue do well in my area. Or stepmom needs to work after dad is off work so he can do childcare, or dad needs a second job. They can also look into government aid or medical studies where treatment would be covered. Not the a-hole. Well, first of all, as an adult and imperfect parent myself, I must apologise for your father. Newsflash, us adults can be ginormous turds when we are scared or feel our backs are against the wall, but this is way beyond that. Your father is putting up Hall of Fame a-hole numbers right now. He is the proverbial drowning person who will drag you down with them, if you let them. Your reasoning is clear, and it is correct in my view. Do not forget your current understanding, that this money has nothing to do with how much you love or care for your brother. Your dad should be ashamed of himself. I hope your father snaps out of this and recognises his toxic approach could do permanent damage to your relationship. For additional perspective, when I was 3 or 4, my slightly older sister lost both kidneys. Then she spent 50 years fighting battle after battle. So consider that your college fund is but a drop of water compared to the river of medical costs that may be coming for your father and his wife over the coming decades. It will mean very little in the battle to pay all those medical bills, but will mean the world to your education. Yeah, that comment put it really nicely, I think. Let's go to the update. So after I called my mum, she left work early and picked me up from my dad's house. She took me for coffee and I explained what happened. After talking a bit, she said I could either keep the fund as is and not give Dad the money, or we can take the money that Dad had contributed and give that back to him. I told her I wanted to give Dad back the money he put in. After we finished our coffee, Mum withdrew the exact amount Dad put in over the years. Mum also matched the amount and added it to give to Dad. I waited in the car while she gave Dad the money, and he was upset because the money wasn't enough. Mum told him that's all he's going to get from her, and threatened to take him to court if he and his wife keeps harassing me. This is probably the last update as I'm going low contact with Dad for now. Thank you everyone for the genuine support and the advice. Alrighty, that's the end of that one. Yeah, pretty fair compromise, I think. Like, you can't help but feel at least a little bit sorry for the dad. Like, obviously, they're in a pretty tough place and in a highly emotional state. But yeah, asking OP for that was completely irrational and unacceptable, frankly. I think giving him the money that he put in was a pretty good compromise. Even if it wasn't enough, at least it was something. What do you folks think? Let me know down below. Alright, let's go to the next story. Okay, this next one was posted on the True Off My Chest subreddit. It was written by a throwaway account, and it's titled, I came home after a 10-hour shift to my apartment a mess, my baby screaming, and my 8-year-old trying to feed her. The father was asleep the whole time. I'm leaving him. This is the last freaking straw. Worked a long shift, came home and there was trash and food everywhere. My child, 8, runs up to me, covered in stains and baby formula, saying, Sis is crying real bad. She's hungry. I'm sorry, I tried to feed her. I rush in the nursery and sure enough my daughter's diaper is full. She's screaming and crying, face red, literally still in her crib. The room is messy with baby formula and chips. I later learned from my son that he had tried to make a bottle for her, but didn't know how. So we tried to feed her potato chips to calm her down, but she couldn't eat them. He's been trying to open the door to me and my husband's bedroom. It was locked the whole time, while he was in there sleeping. I asked him if he ate, and he said not really, just chips, and he tried to take all the food out of the fridge to make something to eat. After feeding and changing my 6-month-old, I literally almost tore that bedroom door down trying to get him to open it, and he opens the door all groggy and says, What do you want? Clearly annoyed. I tear him a new one and scream at him that our children haven't eaten all day because his lazy butt couldn't wake up and care for them. He just stares at me dumbfounded and is like, Oh my bad, I thought they ate before you went to work. I'm crying at this point. He stayed up all night playing video games and promised he'd wake up and stay up for the kids. I should have known better. I told him I wasn't going to get our kids taken away because of him and that we were over. I'm shaking, literally haven't been so mad in my life, and all he can say is sorry. I don't know where I'm going, but I have to leave. I hugged my son, told him he did his best and I was proud of him for taking care of his sister. So sad he had to even do that. Wow, what an idiot husband. Let's look at the comments. Take your time and whatever you do, do not let him back in, no matter what. Please look out for your safety. I don't know when he will get out, but perhaps changing the locks would be a good idea. Someone who gets this mad might try to frick up your life once more. You and the kiddos will get through this. You're a good mama doing what is best for your babies. Your oldest sounds like an awesome kid. Please don't go back to him. This is only the beginning of something really bad if you do. Take everything day by day, and remember you don't owe anyone on the internet any updates unless you want to. Your oldest is going to remember you doing this and will definitely appreciate it later in life. Take care. Don't be hard on yourself. You did a good thing, even if it might not seem like it. Okay, now for the update. I tried to update as quickly as I could. Thank you for your patience. Look at my profile for the first one. I asked him to leave the apartment. We're both on the lease technically, but I really didn't care at that point. Said he needed to leave or I'd tell the police that he failed to care for our 2 children. He got super angry with me, said it was a mistake and it wouldn't happen again. I said I didn't care. Pack your crap and go stay with your dad. Needless to say, after some intense arguing, he went on a rampage, destroying stuff around the apartment. TV, dishes, mirrors. He made a complete mess of our room and living room. I just let him. I was recording everything anyways. My son came out asking what's going on, and I told him to lock himself in the nursery with his sister. I didn't think he would try to do anything to them, but I've read way too many stories. I had to stop recording to call the police. I yelled at him to calm down, because the police were on the way, and all I will say is he put his hands on me, and I had to fight him off. I apologize if this is triggering at all. I'm trying to water it down. He did get arrested, and all 3 of us are relatively unharmed. I just have some light bruises on my arm. My mum is taking the kids so I can attempt to get the apartment cleaned and replace what I can afford. Sorry this isn't the happy ending you're all wanting. I felt as though it was important to update, since so many of you were worried, but we are fine. My son has just been oddly quiet, and I feel awful. Hopefully I can take him out for a treat or something soon when I get this mess sorted out. I probably won't respond to many comments as I'm very tired and stressed. It's taking so much energy to even type this. Sorry if it's not the best written update. I tried. Thank you for the support. Better days are ahead, hopefully. Okay folks, that's the end of that story. Give me your thoughts in the comments. A bit grim all in all, but it's good to hear that OP's getting out of that relationship. It's the first step of many, I'm sure. Am I the a-hole for walking out over a chair? Okay, hear me out. For as long as I can remember in my family, almost any time I got up from my seat, someone would take it, to either be funny or to claim it as if no one was using it. And as a teenager, it literally got to the point I bought my own folding chair so I could pick it up and carry it with me. If I left it where it was, someone would take it, then get mad when I wanted it back. As an example, on a holiday last year, I got up from my chair for a moment to help with something, and came back to find a kid in it, and then the family berating me for wanting them to move. But I tell them that when a man owns and brings his own chair, they expect to be able to use it. I own a very nice folding chair that's comfortable and easily portable, and I pretty much bring it to any family event because people are always scrambling for chairs. Well, the other day I went to a birthday party for my nephew, and like always, I brought my own chair. But at some point I had to use the bathroom. When I came back, my chair was gone, and everyone acted like they didn't know where it was. I said they had 1 minute to return it or I was leaving. They laughed at first, but then realised I was serious as I started going for the door. Everybody told me to just calm down, and it was just a joke. I said I don't care if they think I'm a stick in the mud. I wouldn't be bringing my own chair all the time if other people weren't always taking my seat when I get up. I don't think it's funny. I never did. My brother-in-law then pulled the chair out of where he'd hidden it, and when I got it back, one of the legs was bent. I said it was not like this before, and how could he possibly have done this to a metal chair? He said he could fix it and tried to unbend it, but only made it worse. The chair is pretty much unusable now because the leg is warped and I don't want to risk putting weight on it. I told my brother-in-law he owes me $50 for the chair because that's what I paid for it new 2 years ago. He got mad and kept saying it was just a stupid chair. I said it was my stupid chair and this wouldn't have happened if he wasn't so immature that he and everyone else had to mess with me for years about where I sit. Then I took my now messed up chair and walked out. My family have been blowing up my phone saying that it's just a chair and to let it go, but I still want my brother to pay me back for it. Am I the a-hole? Update. Last night I sent a mass text out to my family that I will not be going to any family function no matter how important it is until they make this right by promising not to screw with me anymore and repay me for the chair. They've mostly gone quiet now, but I can wait. I've got all the time in the world for them to realise I'm serious. Let's go to the comments. They bully you for years, constantly conspire as a group to prevent you from sitting, hide and break your property, and insult and gaslight you when you attempt to set the smallest boundary. Am I missing anything? I would suggest not attending these get-togethers anymore. They can play musical chairs without you. Seriously, what do you actually get out of going to these things that is worth putting up with the bullying? Not the a-hole. Definitely not the a-hole. What your brother did is rude and he ruined your chair that you have to bring because of how inconsiderate and rude everyone is all the time. I'd see these people as little as possible. A joke is only funny when both parties are laughing. This has never been a joke. Just a stupid gotcha that your family continues to play. Tell our brother-in-law, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. His prize is to pay for a new chair. Siblings? OP replies, yeah, I'm the youngest sibling in my mid-20s, and my eldest sibling is mid-30s, yet I'm the only one who won't act like it's a frat house when partying. My siblings all have spouses and kids too. To be fair, I am in demand. The kids all love me as the fun uncle, and I help keep them busy. And when I'm not there, everyone else has to watch their own kids. Right now they're probably thinking I'll just forget about the chair and move on, but I'm not coming back for any holiday or birthday party or barbecue until they pay me back for the chair. The chair is a symptom, not the root problem. OP replies, I won't deny the chair fixation. However, what I'm really aiming for is making them take accountability. My not being there to help means they may eventually start blaming each other, and with it being my hill to die on, then perhaps they'll finally agree to stop messing with me. A bit more context. It was malicious because even if they had their own better seat, One of my siblings would go out of their way to take mine. They did it just to screw with me because I'm the youngest. And they didn't stop. That's why I bought my own chair. Also, the same thing would happen when I'm sitting on the floor, if you could believe it. If I was sitting on the floor in front of the TV, someone would take my spot if I got up. I also really never liked sitting on the floor. I find it very uncomfortable. So again, another reason why I bring my own chair. Apart from one of the kids occasionally sitting on it when I walk away, this was the first time in over a year my family has screwed with me over my chair. And somehow, and I still don't really know how, my brother-in-law bent the leg while hiding it, and it was a sturdy chair too. I mean, he'd have to have stomped on it or something. What do you guys think? Is OP overreacting, or does he have a right to be mad about this? Let me know down below. Alright, let's go to the update. I wasn't going to come back here again. To be honest, I'd completely forgotten I made this account. I only got back in because I'd written down the password and left it on my desk. I was listening to Reddit videos on YouTube a couple weeks ago when I suddenly heard my old Am I the A-hole post, so I thought I'd give an update. Well, things escalated a lot after I made that post because I linked it to my parents and other family members after a little while. They were furious with me at first. Some even mocked me, saying things like, "Oh, watch what you say or do around OP, he might just post about it on Reddit." But when they actually read the comments on my post when I made them, they became mortified. My brother-in-law did agree to pay for a new chair and gave me the money I asked for. I bought a better folding chair than my last one and resumed going to family functions. But whenever I was there was this air about some of the family members. They looked at me like I'd sucked all the fun out of the room. My parents had stopped thinking the chair thing was funny and even scolded a kid for taking my seat when I got up to use the bathroom. The only problem is that this kid was my nephew, and he started crying when they made him get up. My brother-in-law came to the boy's rescue, and my nephew ended up blurting out that his daddy told him he could do it. When I was out of the bathroom, there was a big fight about it going on. Several family members, including my sister and brother-in-law, were all yelling that it was just a damn chair, and I shouldn't be so butthurt about it. My parents demanded to know why they were so butthurt about not being allowed to screw with me anymore. Like, what was their motivation after doing it for so long? It made no sense and wasn't funny anymore. And that's when I intervened. I told them none of this crap would have ever happened if they hadn't been so intent on messing with me when there really was no point to it. And I only started bringing my own chair because I could never find a stable place to sit. And if they still thought they were in the right about the situation, then they were just bullies, plain and simple. And what kind of example is that to be setting for their son? My brother-in-law raged, grabbed my new chair and hurled it through the living room bay window. There was a bit of a pause before he realised what he'd just done. Then he took off in his car and left my sister and nephew there. My parents got my sister to call him, and over the phone they threatened to go to the police if he didn't pay for the damages. Brother-in-law yelled a few F-bombs until my sister took the phone back, and she said that he can either make things right or she'll divorce him. Well, that did the trick, because he came back looking like a kicked puppy with his head hanging low. He apologised to me and my parents without even looking at us, said he'd pay for the new bay window, and left again. My sister said he drank himself to sleep that night. My new chair was just fine. It took being hurled through a bay window like a champ. There was hardly a scratch on it. My brother hired a window company to come and replace the window, and they had to measure and order a new one before it could be installed. And until then, the window had to be covered with plywood. It took some time, but they got the new bay window, and it's better than the old one. Though I imagine that it was extra expensive because it's a bay window. The family was still divided about the situation for a while. Mainly brother-in-law's parents, my uncle, and a couple cousins. They blamed me and called me obnoxious over insisting on bringing my own chair and refusing to let anyone use it. So I compromised. I said that if I had a good designated seat that no one will try to take away, I'll leave my chair in the car. It took 2 more family barbecues before they finally agreed to this. Since then, I've left the chair in my car unless there really wasn't enough seating, and that's only happened once since. The problem is, though, that even though they stopped screwing with me, they were still screwing with each other until things went too far. They still liked to take each other's seats, but I guess others were following my example because they put their foot down and demanded it stop. It's been going on for decades, and they've had enough. Brother-in-law stayed out of the fight entirely and hasn't caused any more trouble, but for several family functions, a number of people didn't bother to show up. My mother was broken up about it because she loves hosting parties. It took months, but everything more or less normalised again. But without the chair thing going on, some have resorted to other stupid pranks, like a little device you hook to a chair that makes farts. They didn't do this to my seat, but did it to a cousin, and said cousin got really petty at the next party and let out real farts. He said he ate a whole packet of fibre bars and had eggs for breakfast, and it was damn nasty. Other pranks included hiding eating utensils, a stink bomb, hiding some sort of monster thing in the toilet, cellophane in the doorway, ripping paper when somebody bends over, messing with drinks, hiding shoes, copying outfits, a container of foam packing peanuts above a doorway, and finally the one that really infuriated my aunt and uncle when a party was held at their house, a glitter bomb. They got the carpet professionally cleaned and billed the person who made the glitter bomb for it, so now pranks are just over. They don't want any more. I'm fine with that, but the last few family functions have been a bit dull. I think they were so used to how things were that now they're trying to find other ways to amuse themselves that don't involve cell phones. Edit. The chair is a National Public Seating steel folding chair. I bought it online for around $80. It's got a thick foam vinyl covered pad on the seat, and it's pretty comfortable. Now for some more comments. Your brother-in-law sounds like he could become an abuser. Opie replies, my brother-in-law has anger issues, but my sister has him wrapped around her finger. I'm not exaggerating when I say my sister is out of his league, so he's basically a simp for her, and pretty much does whatever she says, and she's making him go through marriage counselling after they finally managed to get in a little over a month ago. She also forced brother-in-law to cut back on drinking. Okay, on to another update. Somehow I return again, and with some crazy info on some stuff that went down this past year. I never could have imagined how things could have spiraled into what happened. If you guys thought my brother-in-law throwing my chair through a bay window after his son wasn't allowed to sit on it is crazy, just read about all of this. You're not going to want to believe it. Firstly, my good padded folding chair I'd paid over $80 for was stolen. I have no idea by who, as it didn't happen at a family event, but rather hanging out at a friend's house. Somebody just walked into his yard and took it. I learned my lesson and decided never to buy an expensive folding chair again. Now I just keep a cheap folding chair I got for $3 at a second-hand store in my trunk. Moving on to other stuff. The family pranks I described in my last post seemingly stopped, but some of them slowly resumed. However, they were only harmless little things that just gave us chuckles. The only person that they refused to prank at all was me, due to the events of my previous post. But that didn't stop entitlement. The 7-year-old son of one of my cousins stole my phone during a family birthday party at my parents' house and intentionally broke it rather than return it. His parents were already going through a rough patch. My cousin, the father, was constantly clashing with his wife over how to parent their child. His now ex-wife was a bad enabler of their son. She's also terrible with money and has a very her way or the highway attitude, and she does not like to back down when wrong. She was one of the more outspoken people that hated me bringing my own chair and never sharing it. But she never got physical about it. She once confronted me and said that if I was going to bring my own chair, it should be something nice and made of wood that doesn't fold. I told her I was not going to lug around a dining room chair wherever I go when a folding chair takes up only a little space in my trunk. She argued with me about it more and got nowhere. None of the family events were at her house, and she does not dictate my life. She gave me death glares for months, but otherwise left me alone. The night her son stole my phone, he'd already been grounded from electronics by his father. The kid took my phone when I set it down on the table to eat some cake, and then ran off with it when I wasn't looking. He holed himself up in the master bedroom closet and was trying to install new gaming apps on my phone. That closet had a lock on the door, and the key was lost years ago. The brat refused to come out or return the phone. His mother kept telling us all, mainly me, to just leave him alone and let him game on it, but I refused and said my phone was not his toy. The brat was told several times to open the door, and he refused. All the while, his mother kept contradicting everything said. My cousin got fed up and started forcing the old door open. It's an old manufactured home, and that door was pretty flimsy. Just as he was making headway, we heard loud banging sounds from inside the closet. The brat had started banging my phone against the nearest hard object he could find. The brat let out some loud screams as his dad pulled him out of the closet. The screen on my phone was nearly destroyed. Thankfully, the rest of it was protected by the case. My cousin's wife tried to blame it on me and said it was my fault her baby broke the phone because I wouldn't let him game on it. Everyone in the room turned on her and she shut up out of cowardice. It cost around $300 to repair my phone, and I had to use a temporary one till mine was fixed. And yes, my cousin paid for the repairs. Well, the rest of the family knew about my cousin's wife's disdain for folding chairs like the one I keep in my car, and they decided to pull a prank on her because of her attitude after the incident with her son stealing my phone. I would like to be clear that I was not involved in this in any way, nor do I really condone doing it, but the entire thing was out of my hands. My cousins got together and decided to prank that bee of a wife and got their hands on a whole bunch of folding chairs. Then they removed every chair and seat in his house and replaced them with the folding chairs. Folding chairs at the dining table, folding chairs at the counter, folding chairs in place of the living room furniture, and more were strategically placed around the house. Even the chairs on the porch were replaced with them. When my cousin's wife came home, her reaction went far beyond what anyone thought. Their plan was to just record her having a tantrum and get a laugh, but she ended up going insane on the spot and tried to get a knife from the kitchen to attack her husband with. When she couldn't get the knife, she pulled out pepper spray from her purse and used it on everybody. Then she attacked her husband with her long fake nails. She probably would have tried to claw his eyes out or something, but thankfully one of the other guys there kicked her off him. I couldn't frickin' believe this crap happened all because of folding chairs, and I feel like the root cause, since I'm the one who was always bringing my own chair to family events since there was never enough seating and people kept taking the places I was sitting, and it escalated far beyond me. Police were obviously called, the wife got arrested, all the guys there had to go to the hospital because of the pepper spray in their eyes, and my cousin had to get all the scratches to his face treated. He looked like a bobcat attacked him. He filed for an immediate order of protection against his wife. They'd recorded everything, like her trying to get the knife and screaming she'd stab somebody. She had to go stay with her sister after spending some time in jail, and her sister, I hear, is as narcissistic as she is. My cousin obviously filed for divorce, and his wife later spent some more time in jail after pleading guilty for the assault. She wasn't allowed near her son for a while, and tried to take it out on my cousin in court during the divorce. That did not go in her favour, because he was easily able to prove how unhinged she is. My cousin got primary custody of his son, and his ex got only supervised visitation since she was so mentally unstable. She's pretty much abandoned her son, and is shacked up with some fat older man, got a serious tan and bleached her hair. I guess she'd rather live the life of a sugar baby caked in makeup. My cousin's son has shown great improvement since being separated from his mother. He was put through counselling and listens to his father more now. The kid has to be babysat a lot since my cousin has to work, but at the very least things got better. I still feel like the root cause of this because of the chair thing though. Edit. Just a bit of added info I didn't think to include before, but my cousin's ex-wife had a love for fancy expensive things she couldn't really afford. She filled my cousin's house with imitation Victorian-style furniture that she was extremely anal about, which I suppose was one of the reasons she lost her mind so hard when it was all replaced with folding chairs. My cousin threw all that furniture out when he divorced her. He said it was all uncomfortable and looked better than it felt. Second edit. My dumb self didn't bother to set a password on that phone when I got it, so the kid was able to use it just fine when he took it. I set a password after getting the phone fixed, and the kid was grounded from electronics by his father for a month. Now for a few final comments. Has your brother-in-law gotten better with his anger? Opie replies, yes, he has. My sister made him get therapy for 6 months. I wasn't given any details on it though since it's confidential, but he had some bad issues. We don't interact much though. You sound like the only frickin' adult in the whole family. Opie replies, my parents don't really do any pranking, but are occasionally on the receiving end of one from time to time. Most of the people in the family who do pranking seem to be between the ages of 10 and 40. More on the knife. She tried to get a knife. They wouldn't let her at them and kept trying to tell her to calm down. That's when they got the pepper spray. While I can't confirm it, I've heard that woman has threatened people with knives before. And finally, what the F is wrong with this family? Opie says, I used to ask myself that many times. After a while, I just got tired of doing it. Wow, what a crazy story, all from some folding chairs. Honestly, what is going on with this family? They all sound exhausting, but also kind of funny, at least they're not mundane. But yeah, like that comment before said, it's really only a prank when both people are laughing. You can just imagine how tiring it would be when it's just prank after prank at every gathering. Honestly, the only prank that I kind of enjoyed and thought was funny was replacing all the furniture with folding chairs. That actually made me laugh a little bit. It's probably the most harmless in theory, but in reality it was actually the more damaging one. That lady must have just been hanging by a thread at that point, and that was just the final straw. Anyway, read the room and know the limitations, I guess. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm interested to hear some. Also, some pranks. I don't know, give me some pranks that you like to play on your family. I think they can be healthy and funny in moderation. Like anything, I guess. Anyway, that's it from me today. Hope you guys enjoyed that story. Thanks for making it to the end, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.